Traditional enterprise architecture was designed without the capabilities offered by app delivery. This is largely due to the emergence of app delivery as a class of capabilities long after organizations standardized on an architecture framework. Its functions such as load balancing, caching, and security either didn't exist or were not seen as critical until widespread use of the internet. Now, F5's Office of the CTO wrote a book, Enterprise Architecture for Digital Business, and I interviewed the authors of each chapter. For Chapter 3, From Marathon to Messaging, I spoke with Lori McVitie, Distinguished Engineer and Chief Evangelist from F5's Office of the CTO. Now today, functions like load balancing, caching, and security are not only extant, but a necessary part of a scalable, secure digital business. Moreover, the broad adoption of cloud computing and the emergence of a robust edge ecosystem put pressure on app delivery to include a growing number of remote environments that make human-driven operation an inefficient approach. Modernizing the enterprise architecture demands that app delivery be treated as its own domain to support digital business. This chapter will explore the result of digitization as it relates to the delivery, performance, and availability of applications and the subsequent need to establish application delivery as a key component of a digital architecture. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Hey everybody, I am joined by Lori McVitie today. She is our Principal Technology Evangelist with the F5 Office of the CTO. Lori, you are the author as well of Chapter 3 of our new book, and your chapter was actually From Marathon to Messaging. Can you give us a little bit of a high level of where we're going with the chapter?
Wow, yeah, sure. So it's all about delivery, which is why it was from marathon to messaging, right? Marathon is the delivery of the victory message, right? Way back in ancient times. And messaging is how we deliver messages today. So over the course of human history, the way that we deliver messages has changed. And in the same way, the way that we deliver messages digitally has changed a lot in the last 20 years. So this is an exploration of those changes, the changes in applications, the way that we communicate, and how that affects application delivery.
Oh, that's cool. And so, with those changes, do you think it's been like a big bang approach or a series of small evolutions over the past few years?
I think it's been both. I think there's been like those, I guess you would say, watershed moments where things suddenly, right, leapt ahead. And in between, it's been very incremental, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, letters in the past. When you wrote a letter, you'd carry it, or someone would carry it. And then we went to the Pony Express, and then we went to trains, then we went to cars and planes, and right, we evolved it. And then there was almost a seismic shift in how we communicated because of the internet. And then we had email, and then we had text messaging and FaceTime and Zoom, right? So it's the incremental changes inside these two different ways of interacting. And in the past, it was very much transactional, right? I send this thing to you, and it's the whole package. It was a whole letter, like you write at Christmas in your Christmas cards, right? And now it's more interactive. We actually have conversations back and forth. And when you think about, Conway was very good about describing communication and how it impacts how we build systems. And that's true also of delivery. How we deliver applications is very dependent on how those applications communicate. So instead of like passing forms back and forth, now we pass individual messages back and forth, and it's very fast and it's iterative. And all of that has an impact on how we build the systems that deliver applications. And also, it turns out, how we manage them.
Interesting. I think what you mentioned with the watershed moments seems interesting too, because it seems like when it came to application delivery, and this is a market that F5 is very familiar with, but the application delivery controller and all of the functions that were, it kind of almost felt slowly consolidated onto there until we had this super platform and realized, hey, we can do all of these things on this one platform, albeit starting with hardware and then moving into other form factors. But, we got to the point where we realized how much power that we can do, and we steer all the traffic into one of these devices, right?
Yes. That's the way we did it. That's the way a lot of people still do it, right? It's not like that went out of style, just like as, security changes, you still need your basic security, right? You don't stop locking your doors just because now you have a digital Ring doorbell, right? You still lock your door. You still, have these systems, but you also have new ways of delivering those capabilities and those functions. And actually, we've started to see it's not just about functions, right? Primarily, no one buys a load balancer when they want a web app firewall, and vice versa. So functionality is still important, but increasingly it's about the information about the delivery. Think about it. You want tracking information. I want to know where my package is, and it's telling you all the time. So it's about the information that's actually delivered from those systems as messages are flying around. And that's a huge evolution in app delivery, is that piece of it. Well, once you have that, there's insights, right? What can you do with those? Well, we can automate, we can take, proactive measures. Oh, I have to be home at 2:00 because that truck is coming with that thing I ordered, right? Now we can be able to do those kinds of things with app delivery. Oh, people are going to be doing X about this time of day. Maybe we should provision more resources or move to a new location, follow the sun, all those kinds of different things that you can do with app delivery once you have the information about what's going on and who's trying to talk to each other or which applications are talking to each other.
You almost wonder if we're moving too fast. Like you talk about some of these examples here. Hey, now I have information about a package arriving to me and I need to get home by a certain time to receive it because I don't want it sitting on my doorstep. Like, how much faster are we capable of moving, even faster than we are now with app delivery?
Sure. I'm sure we could. I mean, right, you think about, right, well, sci-fi always precedes us, right? But, there's, you remember, did you see the Minority Report, right? That kind of, oh, I can tell someone's going to do this thing and we have to stop them, right? Is it possible someday we have enough information that the app delivery system knows that I am going to use this app on Monday morning and pre-deliver it and get it staged? Possibly, yes. I mean, we could get there. Will we? I don't know. Will we be in the business when it happens? Maybe not, but it could be right around the corner because technology is moving that fast and the capabilities are just building up. So it's really, just who's going to build it and where is that going to go? But I expect that. Deliver me my apps before I even know that I need them because you've seen that pattern. You know where I am.
And so out of this, maybe we'll tie a bow on this. Where do you see the next few years? Through the book, we're talking to directors and executives on what enterprise architecture needs to look like for their digital business. Where do you see the next few years for them? What kind of guidance can we give them on this chapter?
Wow. Well, this is not a task you undertake lightly, right? When you talk about, changing foundations, it's years. It's not something you do overnight. And the same is true of app delivery. I mean, the big thing here is that for the past 20 years, app delivery, right, all those, load balancers, web app firewalls, things that you do have kind of been bolted on. And as we're going through this modernization and this change, that needs to become its own domain. It's a discipline at this point. No one deploys without a load balancer today or without the ability to protect their applications or get them where they need to go. So it needs to be looked at as a full discipline within IT. And I think that's a big change. So it needs to be approached strategically, not tactically now.
Yeah, very interesting. I know I've had a few chats with other authors of this book so far as well, and we're kind of hearing that resonate, is that the functions within IT are starting to evolve and starting to adapt, based on some of the things that we're looking at here. So that's great. Thank you very much, Lori. For everybody who's checking this video out right now, we will have links down below or somewhere that accompanies this video on where to get a hold of the book. So you'll want to look out for that. And otherwise, thank you very much, Lori, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.